Vast continents, extensive glaciers, towering mountains, and deep oceans all contribute to the current state of the Earth. But according to some, the age of the Earth is much more remarkable. Our planet is thought to be 4.5 billion years old on average. Is the age of the Earth going to affect us badly? This video is going to be about how can we prevent further Earth degradation. Heat waves hitting the globe. Studies after studies have conclusively demonstrated that global warming has created a hotter baseline for summer temperatures, drastically increasing the likelihood of more frequent, more intense, and longer-lasting heat waves. In a news release regarding the current record-breaking temperatures across Europe, Friedrich Otto, co-lead of World Weather Attribution, stated, "Climate change is driving this heat wave, just as it is driving every heat wave currently. As a result, heat waves that were once unusual are now frequent. Formerly impossible heat waves are now occurring and claiming lives. UN experts have put out a suggestion that they believe will contribute to reducing climate change's negative effects. According to a major UN commission, carbon dioxide or CO2 emissions must be drastically reduced. In order to avoid the worst consequences, global CO2 emissions must reach their maximum within the next 3 years. The world would still require technologies by the middle of the century to absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. Analysts predict that in order to avoid that calamity, the global temperature rise must be kept at 1.5 degrees Celsius or less this century. The good news is that General Antonio Guterres stated in the most recent IPCC analysis that it is possible to do so in a way that is viable and financially sound. The generation of energy, industry, transportation, consumer behavior, and environmental practices will all need to change significantly if temperatures are to be reduced. Current status of the Earth. The environment we live in is changing more quickly than we expected. We are experiencing the effects of global warming, from more frequent and severe storms to unheard of heat waves. Compared to the pre-industrial age between 1850 and 1900, the Earth is already at a temperature of 1.1 degrees Celsius. And while it is undeniable that keeping global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius will be challenging, it is equally undeniable that we have the technology to do so, and that every tenth of a degree counts. In 2015, 196 countries accepted a single, all-encompassing plan that aims to limit global warming much below 2 degrees Celsius or perhaps 1.5 degrees Celsius. The global economy has been tackling climate change gradually and planning for its implications for decades. The remarkable Paris Agreement is the result of all of this work. Global leaders must work together by 2050 to stop the release of carbon which traps heat. Global warming and Earth degradation. Global warming is the term used to describe the phenomena of rising Earth surface air temperatures during the past 1 or 2 centuries. Climate scientists have amassed a vast amount of data on numerous weather occurrences and their effects on the climate since the middle of the 20th century. These discoveries demonstrate that the Earth's atmosphere has altered in almost every geologic period. Since the start of the Industrial Revolution, human activities have had an increasingly large impact on the rate and extent of the current climate change. Earth degradation. Environmental deterioration is a grave problem for the world. The Industrial Revolution, the population boom, and the increased desire for luxury goods in daily life are the primary causes of the issue. The state of nature and its resources are deteriorating due to a lack of sufficient education, awareness, understanding, and attitude among people towards the environment. Different reports worldwide after the outburst of the news. In opposition to the release of the new report by the United Nations Environment Programme, more than 1,000 experts from 25 different countries protested last week. By 2025, greenhouse gas emissions must be drastically reduced in order to avoid catastrophic climate repercussions, claims the paper. The organisation known as the Scientist Rebellion claims that a statement of current activities and plans are severely inadequate, and even these prerequisites are not being met. The organisation states that their protests emphasise the urgency and injustice of these climate changes. Experts, as well as NASA climate scientist Peter Kalmus, shackled themselves to JP Morgan Chase building in Los Angeles. "We've been attempting to warn you guys for a very long time," Kalmus said. "The scientists of the world have been ignored. It must come to an end. Instead, we'll be obliterated." They were captured and hauled into custody, according to Eric Schunk of Salon, by about 100 riot-dressed police officers. Scientists have long held varying opinions about becoming advocates on topics related to their line of work, according to Chelsea Harvey for E&E News. However, recent years have seen a change in this. What would happen to us if we let the situation get worse? We are a part of our world's living interwoven web. Following are the effects of ecosystem destruction. Increased flooding is brought on by soil erosion and lack of trees. Sea levels are rising due to glacier meltdown brought on by global warming. The extinction of apex predators will disrupt the food chain. Food shortage when the plains grow arid and the oceans become fishless due to our limited amount of fresh drinking water. Biodiversity loss is caused by the extinction of entire species of living creatures. Over time, pollution will become uncontrollable and impact our health. Increasing temperatures could be too much for all types of life on Earth. Effects of Earth degradation and global warming on businesses. The impact of climate change goes beyond the natural world. The climate inexorably influences almost every decision we make as a civilization. The impacts are already starting to be felt by businesses around the world, and they will only get worse in the future. Here are a few of the most significant ways that climate change will affect businesses. Enhanced risk because of extreme weather. Scientists have connected climate change to an increase in the frequency and severity of extreme weather effects such as floods, heat waves, storms, and droughts. Variations in resource cost and availability. It is more challenging for businesses to acquire the resources and materials they need due to the likelihood of supply chain interruption caused by these extreme weather events. Changes in weather patterns and severe drought may lead to a scarcity of crops that are needed to produce food, clothing, and other goods. The cost of carrying goods could increase dramatically due to rising energy and transportation prices. Regulations imposing price caps on climate change-related products could also raise costs. Businesses might use alternative materials and recycle more trash if there aren't enough resources available. Changing demand. Demand will change along with the climate. For instance, if global temperatures rise, demand for winter commodities such as heating oil would decline. Additionally, more consumers are giving sustainability top consideration while making purchases, which is altering consumer preferences for eco-friendly goods. Prevention of environmental degradation. Increase tree planting. We can stop environmental degradation by planting trees or engaging in afforestation. In addition to providing humans with oxygen, plants absorb carbon dioxide, lowering the atmospheric concentration. Many native species live in forests, and an environmental imbalance results from cutting them. Rainfall collection. Water waste can be avoided by collecting rainwater for home use or harvesting it. Finding clean drinking water is difficult because it is scarce and because of water pollution. Rainwater harvesting can be used to collect water for use in home tasks, agriculture, and cooking. By employing this technique, we reuse the rainwater for our needs and prevent water waste. The available resources are finite and cannot be replenished. These are referred to as non-renewable resources. The number of people has abruptly increased. As a result, the resources are being used excessively. Exhaustion could result from this. Therefore, we must decrease the production and emission of greenhouse gases. The goods are recyclable and reusable. We can just stick to jute bags instead of plastic ones. You can recycle the cans. We can refrain from purchasing things that are not necessary. Cutting back on the use of chlorofluorocarbons. Methane is one of the CFCs referred to as greenhouse gases. They damage the ozone layer and damage the atmosphere. Therefore, it's essential to limit their use. As a result, global emissions will decline, preventing dangerous climate change. That's all there is for today. Leave us a comment with your thoughts on Earth degradation. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the video. And click the notification bell to never miss our videos. Stay tuned.